Hey everyone, welcome back to 25 Sweetpeas and welcome to the Christmas 2021 series. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create this cute little palm tree cookie illustration in the app Procreate. All you need to get started is an iPad, an Apple Pencil, and Procreate already downloaded, and everything else will be gone over in the video and as I have mentioned in all of the other videos, so I'm sorry if this is getting repetitive, but if you guys do need a bit of a refresher course or you just want to learn some of the basic tools that we're going to be utilizing in this video, I have a intro video linked down in the description box below so you guys can watch that or go back to reference it if you need to catch something. But we are going to start illustrating right now. Okay, let's get right into things. I've already got my 3000 by 3000 canvas and I'm going to press the little wrench here. I'm going to turn on the grid guide and I'm going to turn the grid size all the way up and press done. I'm going to go and make sure I'm on layer 1, but I'm going to change the background color. So I'm going to select the background and I think today I kind of want a greenish shade. So we're going to be drawing a palm tree cookie, but the palm tree is not going to be like colored icing. So I think a nice muted green will work. Okay, so now I think I need to go in and start my sketch. So I'm going to grab my favorite sketching color, which I like to use like this light navy dusty blue shade. I'm on layer 1. I've got my 6B pencil and it is time to start drawing. So when I was redrawing this for this video, because of course I've already drawn everything previously, I was having the worst time. So if you are struggling with a palm tree, don't be afraid to go grab a reference picture. Definitely follow the one that we're working on. And if you're struggling, once you've got one good palm frond, duplicate that layer. Then you can use the little selection tool and you can actually flip it, which is what I just did. And I'm going to merge those layers together by pinching them. And now that I've got the top two, I'm going to draw the bottom ones. And once I've got one that I like on one side, I'm going to do the same thing and I'll talk you through the process better. As you guys can see, some days it's just really hard to draw things, and this was one of those days. So just keep at it until you get something that you like, which again, for me, it took forever. But that's why this is a sketch phase, which is nice. So it's just a guideline. But now that I've got this one done, I still don't love it. I'm going to try again. Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and just try to do it again. We'll see what happens. Okay, I don't hate that, but I feel like that one's a bit too chunky. Okay, so I've erased that one. And I'm going to draw it by hand. I know I said I was going to duplicate it, but I feel like I would rather draw them this time, but we'll see. Not too bad. We're going to leave that, and now we're going to draw the palm tree trunk. I want to make this a little bit slanted and give it like a little bit of a rounded edge. I feel like that's too thin or too something, so I'm going to make it thinner at the top and chunkier at the bottom. At least that's the goal here. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, I definitely don't hate that, but I feel like possibly it needs to be longer. So I'm going to erase that bottom part and just kind of make this part a little bit longer. I feel like when you look at the size of the palm fronds, it needed to be there. Okay, now we're getting pretty close. I think the top needs to be a bit more narrow. So I'm going to just try to like redraw one side to make it a bit narrower up there and fatter down there. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Okay, now that we've got that part done, I kind of want to make an indication of where I want little ornaments because we're making this a Christmas cookie. Might as well decorate the palm tree. So just draw some circles where you want. We'll actually be like using sprinkles to make these look like that. And I think I do actually want to give like the little hanging features. So go ahead and make that look like the ornaments are hanging off the tree. And again, this is just our sketch, so things can move around and you guys can improvise or redo things later on. You don't have to be like 100% committed to the sketch. But now I'm going to go ahead and make like a really big chunky outline of this whole design because that would actually be the cookie shape. And the palm tree details that we already did are actually going to be done with icing. So I kind of like that. I think I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to center it here using the grid lines. I've got the snapping tools already on. gonna merge those layers. I'm gonna name it Sketch. Again, you don't have to name your layers, but it is super helpful whenever you go back and look at your file. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and add another layer, and we're gonna start drawing. Okay, so we're gonna start doing the cookie element of this. We've got our sketch layer, we've got it on a multiply mode, we've added a new layer, and we've pulled it underneath our sketch. And I'm gonna go ahead and name this one color, so that way we know that this one is the coloring layer. Also, I'm looking at this footage and I'm realizing that the first clip looked a lot different saturation wise. The lighting has been going in and out. So that's what's up with that. Everything that you're seeing on the screen is still the same as it was in the beginning. The lighting has just been weird today. I'm gonna make sure my grid guide's a lighter color so it's not as invasive. And now it's time to start outlining the cookies. So in order to kind of like color in the full cookie, I found it really easier, or found it more helpful, to outline the cookie in the main brush that I wanted, which I'm using the 6B brush because I really like the texture of this one. And I'm not gonna like color it in completely, like I'm gonna leave spots that look a little bit lighter, but I feel like this cookie color is just not quite right. So I'm gonna like just keep messing with the color until I've got it right. And if you want to like change a color without having to redo everything, you can turn alpha lock on the layer and just like fill the layer until you've got it to the color of cookie that you want. I feel like this one's okay. We're gonna work with this for a little bit and see what we think. Just take this part kind of slowly, just outline it, and then you can color it in. And I know this could be kind of boring to watch, so we are gonna go ahead and speed through this part. Okay, so this cookie is looking a bit too pink to me. So I've turned on alpha lock for the layer, and I'm gonna mess with this brown sort of color until I get it to where it looks a bit more like a gingerbready color. And since I've got alpha lock, I can press fill layer until I get the color that I like. And that one I feel like is too orangey. So again, once you've got the color that you like, you can then turn off the alpha lock and you can continue coloring as I've done here. I feel like this might be a bit orangey. So I'm going to go back and actually change it up a little bit. Maybe move it closer to the red section. Maybe brighten it a bit and turn down the saturation. I don't know. Like, this is like all trial and error. So just keep working with the color until you've gotten to the cookie color that you like. Of course, you could make it a sugar cookie and make it like a creamy cream color. But I'm sticking with the whole like gingerbread vibe. I feel like I like this, so I'm now going to continue coloring this in. Now that I've got that all colored in, I'm going to add a new layer on top of the layer we just colored, and I'm going to put a clipping mask on it so it only lands on the palm tree that we've already colored, and I'm turning on the multiply blend mode. And I've not changed my pencil color at all, and I'm just gonna kind of like add some outlines to it on the darker edge. And because we have that clipping mask on, everything that I'm doing is only going to touch the palm tree that which we've already colored. So I'm kind of not worrying about major lines or details here. We're going to smudge this part out, but it's just going to kind of give, you know, like those brown edges that you would expect on a cookie, make it look a little less flat. I'm then going to switch to my smudge brush and kind of just smudge out in a circular like motion, because we want to give the illusion that this cookie is not just flat, like it has edges. We cut it out with a cookie cutter and maybe it got a little crispy on the edges. Once you've got that done, if you want to add some more texture to your cookie, you can go grab some sort of texturing brush, add a layer on top, put a clipping mask, and turn on the multiply blend mode to just add a little bit of more texture. I'm using that like a splattery brush from the Gladys Things that I really like, and I'm just adding some texture to make it look a bit more realistic and speckledy. And you can just play around with this until you're content. Once that is done, I'm going to add a new layer on top, and it is time that we start icing those cookies. So I've decided to go with kind of like just an icing outline rather than a full icing fill, because I feel like it's a bit more realistic, and the other is really hard to do in real life. In actuality, both of them are really hard. But I'm just going to grab a white, my 6B pencil, and I'm going to outline all of the details that we have already done in our sketch. So the palm tree, it is time to officially outline it. And that is what we're going to be using as our icing. Just kind of go with the flow. Your lines don't have to be perfect, because if you were using a piping bag, I mean, I feel like that's really hard. So don't worry about it. Just kind of go with the flow. And I'm going to do all of the palm fronds on a specific layer. And I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know why it zoomed me out real quick. Sorry about that. Again, this is icing, so it doesn't have to be super precise, and if your hand is taking you in a different way than your sketch was, just go for it. It's all good. Actually, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do the tree trunk on this layer too as well. I think I'm going to go ahead and do everything. No, let's go ahead. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and add another layer to do the little ornaments on. So at this point, I'm just going to put like a big blob of icing for the ornaments and pretend we're going to put sprinkles on top of these little like ornaments. So like the icing would be gluing the sprinkles onto the overall tree decorations, if that makes sense. So just some blobs of icing glue. Okay, we almost have everything all lined up and illustrated. Okay, so now that we've got all the icing parts done, I want to go ahead and turn off my sketch, make sure it looks good. And then I'm going to go ahead and merge the two different icing layers together. And then I'm going to duplicate it. Now on the bottom one, I want to turn on the alpha lock. Well, first I'm going to go ahead and multiply the color. And this is what's going to help make the icing look like it's on top of the cookie. So I'm going to go to the adjustments panel, and I'm going to turn down the color a little bit. So I'm basically making the white icing a little bit gray, and I've turned on a multiply blend mode, which has then allowed us to create this nice little shadow below the icing, as you guys can see there. So it makes it look like the icing is on top of the cookie rather than one with the cookie, which I found like a really good trick to do, and we didn't have to redraw the whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and rename that layer that this is like the icing shadow. That way we know which layer is what. And I'm going to go back to the white layer, and I'm going to name that one just like the icing so we know which one is the white and which one is the shadow. Then I'm going to add a layer on top of all of those, and now it is time to like go in with our sprinkles and decorate this tree. So I'm going to use a red shade, and I'm just going to put like some circles on top of the white circles. And of course, these are on a separate layer, so that's nice. We're doing this non-destructively. So figure out where you want your different colors placed. I'm going to do a red one here, another red one, and I'm also not going to fill in the whole white circles. So maybe you've like really kind of pushed the sprinkle down into the icing and it made it burst out a little bit. And that way you can kind of tell that it's like glue in this case. And I think 3 red ornaments is enough. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab a different color. I think I'm going to go with like a turquoise maybe. Yeah, let's do a turquoise ornaments. I'm going to keep it to about 3 colors, but of course you could do whatever you fancy. After I've got this turquoise, I think I'm going to do maybe a pink shade. Let's see. Yeah, let's do a pink ornament and kind of keep it with the whole color scheme that we've been working with this whole series. And I'm going to fill in the rest of the ornaments that way. And then once I've got that done, we're going to, whoa, why did that, that's weird. It took away my other one. So I'm going to redo that real quick. Okay, now I'm going to turn on Alpha Lock for that layer by sliding it with my 2 fingers. I'm going to add a layer on top and turn on a clipping mask. Then I'm going to turn on the multiply blend mode. That way we can kind of create some shadows without actually changing the color. So what I'm going to do here is select the exact color of the ornament and kind of just like round off one shade that kind of gives you the illusion of it being actually rounded. So now I'm going to pick the red shade and do the same exact thing as you guys are seeing. Kind of gives it the illusion that it's actually round. Then I'm going to grab the turquoise color and do the same thing, but because we've got the multiply blend mode, it's automatically making the color darker, therefore giving a nice shadow. Now I'm going to add a layer on top of that, and I'm just going to grab like basically a white. Yeah, we're going to just go in with white and kind of give these little sprinkles a little shine line. And I feel like that really makes it look more realistic. It makes it look more rounded and makes it look like those big sprinkles that you get in fun little sprinkle sets. And that basically rounds off this whole cookie. I am going to go ahead and like kind of organize my layers here. I'm going to put all of those together, group them into a group, and I'm going to call it like decorations because it's the decorations for the cookie. Then I'm going to like group all the cookie parts together into a group and call it cookie. Just, you know, to be super organized. And then I'm going to go in and add some texture to the background like we've done on all of the others thus far. So I'm going to add a new layer, pull it all the way to the back. Turn on a multiply blend mode. Well, first I'm going to actually select the color of the background and then turn on the multiply blend mode. And we're going to add some shadowing here just to kind of make it look like it's not flat on the surface. So you need to pick like one side of the cookie and stay consistent and kind of give a little bit of an outline. I feel like this outline's a little bit too light, so we're going to go in and make it a little bit darker in a bit. But go ahead and just kind of give the shadowing to the cookie. Again, I know you guys can't probably see it here, but we're going to go in to the adjustments panel and kind of darken that a little bit. So see, I've got the adjustments tool. I'm going to turn down the brightness a little bit, and that's going to give us a little bit of a darker shadow. And we're going to smudge those out using the smudge tool so it's not super harsh. Again, I know you guys can't really see it, but when you guys see the final illustration, you will be able to see this part, I promise. At least I hope I do. I hope we can. Smudge that out until you're content and makes it look like, you know, it's not 100% flat. And it is on a surface. Okay, I think I like that. Add a little bit more there. Smudge that out. Okay, now I think I'm to the point where I really like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and add, I think it needs to be a little bit darker, so make that side a little bit darker, smudge it out. And then we're going to go in and add some more texture to the background like we've been doing in all of the previous illustrations by adding another layer, turning on that multiply blend mode, and we're going to put the overall texture that we've been doing. Again, I'm using the texture mini pack from the Gladys Things. Of course, I will link that brush set down below. And I just put a nice little spattering there. If it's a little bit too strong, you can turn down the opacity a little bit and just kind of tap to add the like texture. And that's basically it. You guys can see how it adds a nice little texture in the background. And we've got our palm tree cookie. Here is the full illustration. I really like how this one came out, and I think it took me a lot of times to get this right on camera for some reason, but I do really like how it came out. And I can't wait to see your guys' recreations of this as well. So that basically covers it for this video. If you guys do create it, please share it with me, post it on Instagram, use the 12 days of Christmas hashtag, which I will have linked, not linked, but I will have it listed in the description box down below. I have decided to go ahead and make one so everything is organized. And if you guys post on Instagram or Twitter or anywhere, I'll be able to see them if you guys use the hashtag. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you back for another one very, very soon. Bye!